Alright guys, I'm gonna be a little honest. This week was a little hard to scrape together anything to talk about. I spent a while trying to figure out anything to talk about for this week. There wasn't a lot of questions. I could even scraping the comments, there wasn't any questions really on it ask. Everything was pretty straightforward for this week. There was a couple things cut out here or there from the book, but really just quickened the pace a little bit from the book stuff that in my opinion could be cut out. It doesn't affect the overall story, so I'm fine with that. Some other people are sad that a little scene here or there cut out, but that's fine to me. But for this week, we're basically going to talk about the rune crafting. Obviously, you clicked on the video. You're here. We're going to talk about the little information we have about rune crafting. Spoiler part order. There's not much that the later books, from my understanding. My knowledge is based on the English books, so I am technically 3 books behind. I haven't read the synopsises for them or fan translated, but basically from what we know of the RuneCraft, even the Wikipedias that are specifically about them would mention them, so it's pretty common that it probably wouldn't have been mentioned again. So for the runes crafting, all we really have is that, as you saw in the episode, it is cheaper than tiered magic. It was basically destroyed by tier magic coming over. It also mentions that you can't do runes and enchanting on the same weapon. They don't specifically outright tell you that in the episode. It is mentioned in the books that if you try to put enchant on something with runes on it, it will deteriorate the runes. And runes are specifically powered by the longer you take to carve it and the more perfect you carve it, the better the enchant on it. It's mentioned as like you're putting mana into it by etching it, and so then casting a spell on it to do the mana, they don't work. It doesn't really say why. It just says that they're mutually exclusive. Basically, you can't do both of them. They didn't say in the episode, the dwarves have lost a lot of runes from their history. They've lost them to ancient times. There is mention that there is about 90 runes in total. There's 50 lesser runes. There's 25 middle tier runes. There's 10 upper, and then there's 5 top runes. They even mention that we don't know from the books that there might be legendary runes and stuff, and that even Ainz himself doesn't know anything about runes, and that they came about, maybe existed in Yggdrasil, and that maybe a couple players knew about them and hid it if they actually existed back then, but it might not even have existed back in Yggdrasil, so he has no clue about it. It was such a niche kind of thing possibly there that it was a closely guarded secret. But as a little nugget of knowledge that I can think of for this video to leave it off, there is actually a better, at least knowledge Ainz has of runecraft, and that for a spoiler for next week, it'll probably show up in the episode if you don't want, stop here or whatever, but just as a little teaser, Ainz does have a sword that has 20 runes on it to blow the minds of the runesmiths when he gives a presentation about that more runes could be put on a sword, deeming that couldn't put that many enchants on a sword. So if the dwarves can figure out how to make weapons that have infinitely more runes than what they know how to do right now, it could be a more powerful art than enchanting weapons. There is that theoretical, a higher maximum for runecraft than enchants, which would bring back their art in full. Next week, we'll actually have some things to talk about, I think, from the books. I was worried a little bit about this week because of knowing that there probably, from how much gets covered per episode, that there wasn't going to be really any super informational parts to talk about. But next week, I'm pretty sure we're going to have something to actually talk about. And, you know, I'm trying not to make videos for the sake of just making a video. I'm trying to be actually informative here. So if you guys enjoy that, please leave a like and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye.